Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. Shir sponsor Lui Nishma Sarbiak Hashem Lab Basitzchok. We're holding Bava Daf Kuf. This is a recording of the shir that was given on Shabbos, so we'll give it in short. We're starting to take test and base in the bottom. The Gemara brings the Gemara says Itmar. It's one line before the end of the middle-sized lines. Itmar Marid Dino L'Shulchani Tanim Tzura. One shows a coin to a exchanger, a type of a banker, and he looks at the coin, he sees it's a bad. Afterwards, he finds out the coin is bad, meaning the shulchani said the coin is good, but the guy who took it found that it's bad. Tani Chadom Patur. One says that the uman and the expert is patur, the edjut chayav, and someone's not an expert is chayav. Tani Hidduch ben uman ben edjut chayav. There's another price that says they're both chayav. On va papa kitani uman patur ki gon danku v'hisur. When it's patur, we're talking about experts, the real experts, top experts of the generation. And those days they were called danku and isu. They don't have to learn it all. That's their main expertise. What was the mistake? They didn't recognize this new coin that just came out. It's something that it's really not their fault. Now, the Rishonim already asked over here, why don't we compare this to the previous Gemara? The Gemara said, depends if he gets money or doesn't get money. So the Rishonim say each one in his own way. The Rishonim say that before we spoke about a shoichet, a butcher, the shoichet, he's doing a ma'aseh with his hands. So here you say the more, if he gets a salary, he has to be a little more careful, if not. Here we talk about an opinion, you don't say that thing. An opinion doesn't matter, money or not money, should not be any difference. Because it's just giving an opinion, it's not doing a ma'aseh b'yadayim. Says the more now story. He ate this son. There was this woman. She showed a coin to her b'chil. Only malleus. It's a good coin. The next day she came to him. I went to show it. I went to use it. He told me it's a bad coin. I can't use it. So Rabchia told Rav his nephew, we have to go and exchange it for her. Give her back what she lost. Because you write on my books, this is a bad business. We lost money. So what we just said before, that the experts of the generation are patur. They don't have to learn because they know. It says Rabchia is in the same level of expertise, so he should not need to pay. It says the more right. He did lifnim mishur sadin. He did have to do it. He did it even though he didn't have to. Tanya Yeshiva says, for that the Gemara is going to bring now a pasuk that it says a Pashas Yisrael, that it says the different things that Moshe Rabbeinu teaches Am Yisrael. For that what is that? With Beis Chayim. What's Beis Chayim? Beis Chayim. We have here two shittas in Rashi. Rashi says over here Beis Chayim is Talmud Torah. Rashi Bob Metzia says the Beis Chayim means umnus, parnasa. Says it Yeshua, it's two sides of the same coin. We're talking about someone who is, how do you learn Torah? To have Torah and Derech. To have Torah and Melacha together. So it's the way of Torah together with umnus. That's the two Rashis together. That's the Bnei Yeshua. As the Derech, Zegulas Chasodim. That's the Zegulas Chasodim. And Maharsha explains in Bob Metzia that the Loshen Yediyah, that's the Torah, how you learn Torah. Derech is the known Derech. Which known Derech? The one they have to go. Mahu Rachum, Avtar Rachum. We have to do like Kodesh Baruch Hu does. Yelchu, to go, is a Bikucholim. As Rashi says over here, when the Gemara Metzia asks, Bikucholim is also Chesed. It's also Bilchus Chasodim. So you answer, it is Chesed. It's true that it's Chesed, but the Gemil's Chasodim over here, but Bikucholim talk about somebody who's in the age of someone who's sick. He needs to come and visit him. So all he needs to do is go visit him. He doesn't do anything else. It says the Maharsha, it says the Yelchu, just to go. Regular Bikucholim, you have to go check what the sick needs. You have to come and support him. What is a ba? Ba is in it. So kvur. Kvur means to bury a mace. The Maharsha says over there, because it's chesed shalamis. You don't not get anything back from the mace. So you have only that, only the chesed itself. And Samai says that is what you have to do. Asher yasun zeh lifnim mishur hasadin. It's just to be lifnim mishur hasadin. How do you know asher yasun lifnim mishur hasadin? Maharsha says, Maise is what needs to be done. Lifnim mishur hasadin is what we do. It's not how Beis Din paskin. Beis Din don't paskin lifnim mishur hasadin. That's the marshal. The Risif Engel over here says that the reason you know that Asher Yasun is Fim Shasadim is based on the Gemara and Makkas. The Gemara and Makkas tells us that anytime the word Asher comes up, it means optional. So the Gemara says, speaking about Asher Yavol Reu Bayar, speaking about somebody who goes to his friend's place and then kills him, and then you have the din in Kolios. So it says the Gemara, Asher Yavol Reu Bayar, it's optional, not a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, just to mention one more thing here, is the Shur Lemeshiv, the Rav Natanzun, has a sefer called Divrei Shol Anagato. And he says, what does it mean with Fim Shasadim? How do you define the Fim Shasadim? If the Torah tells you to do it, it's not Fim Shasadim. The Torah tells you to do it. It says the chilik is like this, based on the Chayvus Lavos. If a person has two mitzvahs to do, and he does one, not the other, and I'm not talking about when they contradict each other. He just is Makayim one mitzvah, the other one is a little lazy. There will be a big time on him, he didn't do the mitzvah. He's obligated to do it. But the mitzvah that he did is fine. When a person does Lifnim Shur Sadin and doesn't do the mitzvah, then it's a problem. Why is that a problem? Because then you have a time on him. The Torah told you what to do. You go jump, you do chumras before you do your main thing. You can't. Lifnim Shur Sadin says the Shur Meshib is only for somebody who's a tzaddik gomer. Says the he showed according to Blazer. He says it's a good court. Says I'm relying on you. If you rely on me, so what? If I find bad, I'm going to have to pay you back. You said the only one who's mechav is Rameir. The doin didn't garmi. It's only according to Rameir that holds garmi. Indirect damage you have. I love Rameir, meaning you say it's Rameir, you don't hold like him. I hold like him. So it's discussed over here if you have to announce it that lach kasamchino, or here is just for the. It was not. You don't need to announce it for it. Someone says, "Hi Rameir." Where's Rameir that says dinah degami? They mentioned a few dakim ago. Either Rameir did nan danas adin zikr zachayav chivas zakai timin sator tier satomim. Person did a din, and then he said, "Who person was chayim in zakai? The word is zakai meaning chayav. Tar made tome. Tome did tar. Mashal so Shali Bates, so whatever he does, it does, and he has to pay from his house. So you see, even though he didn't do it directly, it's indirectly, it's still chayav. He did it with his hands. Rashi says, Timir Satori, he put a sheretz on the fruits. Tir Satome, he mixed it up with other fruits. Zikah Zachayov, he went and said that the chayav is potter, and so he doesn't have to pay. Chiv the Zakai is they took a mashka from him and put it somebody else. So this is a very long case over here discussing exactly the details of it. It seems that this is not goyris, what the Gemara says, not of Nasa Bayat, because Taisus brings one, at least going to one shita, that holds when a person is pasketing halacha, that's considered to be a ma'aseh. You don't have to do bayat, it's already a ma'aseh. So this is mechalik between different, some of the cases are highly different than others. But in any case, the Gemara says over here, that's not garmi, that's direct. Ella Rameir, the following Rameir, 9. He told him to color red and color black. Or vice versa. You have to be back the original tzemer. See what? That you have to do the tzemer, even though it's the one sense it's considered to be garmi. This is why would it consider to be garmi? It says this because the color takes time until it's absorbed in the wool. So it's not that, it's considered to be a little bit indirect. The Gemara doesn't like that. Also, covered by a dye, it's considered to be doing in your hands, even though it takes some time. Someone goes and puts his vine from his vineyard on top of the grain of his friend, and he causes it to be kilayim, or raise it kiddush v'chayav. So he makes it kilayim as chayav. So the Gemara, again, also now they covered by a dye. He's doing it with his hands. Good, you tell you the same idea. Doesn't happen right away. That's why the Gemara had to have him, to call it garmi. With the following way the time it says in the Brisa. You have a fence between the vineyard and the grain. In your Raisa, you have to have let's call it the Raisa with a combination of the Rabbanon, just to be exact. But we have a din that you're not allowed to put vines together with grain. Usually, the Karen needs 4 amas to separate the vines from the grain. But if you have a fence, you can bring the vine as close as possible to the fence, and the grain is as close as possible to the fence. Here you have a fence, and the fence broke. So what do? So the Gemara says that Kuvun base. You tell him, build it up. Nifritzah, he breaks down again. Tell him again, build it up. He says, I'm not going to build it anymore. I raise a kiddush, becomes kilayim, so he's chayav to pay. So what does more bring a raya? This is considered to be indirect. The wall broke on its own. He just did not build it, and he's obligated. Now, a few hours to understand this, and then we'll get into Garmi. Number one, why is the Bala Kerem chayav more than the grain? We know, the fence fell, it's in between both. So all the Rishonim point out over here, the culprit is the owner of the Kerem. The Kerem is what requires, the vineyard is what requires the 4 amos. The Kerem goes out towards the grains. The Kerem is the one who caused the problems. That's why the owner of the Kerem is chayav. Now, when we say, Gemara said over here, they told him to go there, and then he gave up hope. So Lastais points out over here. By kilayim, the din is, as long as you're busy to take away the kilayim, or you're intending to do it, it's not kilayim. So for example, if I have two fields, and the Gemara brings over here, the Mishnah Kilayim says, the person is in the middle of his field and he's harvesting, he realizes the kilayim fell. He says, no problem, I'm going to finish the harvest and come take out the kilayim. It's not kilayim. But if you say, forget about it, then it becomes kilayim. So kilayim is once you give it up, that's the Gemara says in Nisyash. Now, the Gemara says here another thing. The Gemara brings that they told him to build a fence, and then the Gemara says and he built and it broke, and they told him to build a fence again. Why? You have two. Just say one. So Rabbi Tam brings here in the very long cases. Rabbi Tam says there's a Nekudi here the Gemara is teaching us. What does the Gemara teach us? If kilayim becomes also be'echad mima'asayim, and if you have whatever grew, an addition of more than 1 of 200. Let's say if the vine grew, whatever the vine is, there's another 1 of 200 that grew up and makes a kilayim. What happens if a little bit grew before the fence? If the first fence broke, grew some kilayim, he built a fence. Then the fence broke again, and a little more kilayim grew. Do you join both of the gidulim to make it into kilayim? So says to Rabbi Tam, no, because the fence stopped it. And this leads Rabbi Tam to go into the idea of kama bottom. What is kama bottom referring to? Kama bottom referring to is when I have milk falling into meat, it becomes asur. What happens if a drop of milk fell into meat? It's mutter. Why? It's batal b'shishi. It's only 1 drop. What happens if another drop fell? It's still batal b'shishi. What happens if I have milk dripping into the meat? A drop. What happens then? So here, that's what Tais is discussing. We know that if something went in and it was batal, you say it's batal. The next one that falls in, it's another thing that's batal. So why would I have milk falling into the pot? I have drip after drip after drip. I don't say kama batal. The first one was batal. So the Tais is Yeshiva, going into details just to say the point, is that if it's without a break, that's the normal way to do it. No break, you don't say kama batal. It's considered to be in one shot. That's why here, when you build the fence, it stopped the growth. The growth was there, it was batal b'reif. Now the fence fell off, so again, it's a new start. But if it would be without building a fence in the middle, you would join together, because that's the normal way for the client to grow slowly, even though it doesn't happen in one shot, and then you don't say kama batal. Now, finally, to conclude the sugi over here, let's just know, and it's chazer, what is the concept of garmi? Some Rishonim, the Rambam, and many learn this in Rashi, they learn that the garmi and groma are exactly the same. Anything indirect is the same. So why sometimes in garmi we say chayav and in groma we say patur? Because garmi means something more common, and groma is something that it's a little more rare to happen. Chazal were goyzer to aser garmi, not to aser groma. It's a little more common. That's what some Rishonim learn. Other Rishonim, there's a very long rush on this, and the Ramban has a sefer called Kuntris Divya de Garmi, where he goes through all the different malachim. I'll say what the Rush says. The Ramban is a little different, but the Rush points out that there's 3 things that need to happen in order for something to define Garmi. Number 1, something that happens in biyadayim, a person does biyadayim. Number 2, it has to happen immediately. Number 3, the hezek is clear. What's the classic case that all these things fit? Someone who's Sayyid Shtarosav Shechaveru. Person takes a star of his friend and burns it, as we saw earlier. So then what happens? He's doing a biyadayim. It's for sure the Ezek is going to happen, and it happens right away when he burns the star. But grama, let's take a classic as a grama. Someone opens a fence and the animal eventually runs away. It's not clear the Ezek is going to happen. Maybe the animal won't run away. It's not biyadayim. He's not taking out the animal. The animal goes on its own. And so it's not borizeke and not coming right away. These three things don't apply. The Ramban argues you have to have all three things or only two of them. When we go back to our sugyo, what's the garmi? The garmi is a person who wanted in judge, did a judgment, he made a mistake. So he said this coin is worth something. It's not worth it. That's something which is considered to be, according to this. Why would this be garmi? Because right away when he says that, he says a good coin, so he gives the guy the value. He's doing biyadayim by saying it's okay, and the Ezek is clear. Once you found out the mistake, it's right away clear that he made a mistake. So that's why all three things apply over here. That's what's the din of garmi, and this is a very generic overview of the different shittas regarding garmi and grama. Says the Mishnah, Hanoisin sever latzava. So a person gave wool to a painter, a dyer, and it got burned in the pot. Noisin has to pay him back. That's sever clearly. Sofakar, if he painted it in a bad color, Rashi's going to see in the Gemara that he used low quality, the bottom of the pot of color, of the dyeing instrument, he used that, so it's not a great color. So then, if you may say tzia, so Pashup Shah means like this. The tzia means whatever expense it costs to make this, to paint. It costs to paint itself. Shvach is what is worth more. So the shaila is, what do you pay the painter? Whether it's worth more or for the paint. So whatever is less in cost. Let's say he used $3 of paint, and the wool now is worth $5 more. He pays in 3. If it was the opposite, he always pays in the lower amount. Today's over here brings the Yushami, discusses the Yushami, says a little hard to understand. Today's one way asking questions. One of the things that the Rishonim discuss over here is labor part of the principle. And the Taisus wants to bring over here from the Yerushalmi that maybe also the expected profit. I mean, the normal way, wool, which is now painted as 10, which painted as 15, so 15 is considered to be part of the actual principle that needs to go back. Discussions over here to value this. Let's stick over here to Rashi. Says the Gemara, this we mentioned before, mentioned also in Amud Aleph. He told him to do it red, he made it black. He changed what he told him. You have to get back to Tzemmer, it's called Shinu, it's kind. It's not Shinu, but the way it sounds from Rashi here, and we'll see more in the Gemara, it's a Knas. It's a Knas because he changed. So therefore, if you made tzia, the same concept we said before, you treat it as if there's no shinui, you pay the minimum amount. According to Amir, this is shinui. If you did the right color, just at a low quality, it's not considered to be shinui, as Rashi says clearly. It says, well, my color, we made it a bad paint. That's what it means. My kalbus, with daf kufa from daf, kafre dudi. What is kafre dudi? Says Rashi, kafre dudi is, he cleaned up the bottom of the pot. He used the bottom of the paint that's left in the pot. Okay, we'll go to a few more lines because it's really just a repetition of the Mishnah and the daf. Person gave wood to a craftsman to make a chair. He did something else. He made a bench. He hired to do a bench. He made a chair out of it. If to pay back, it did shinu, you give him back the original amount. If the profit is more than the expense, paying the expense, the expense is more than the profit, sells the shvach. Meir agrees. You sent 18 lachash, gave him wood. To make a nice chair. If someone made out of it an ugly chair, but still a chair. He told him to make a nice, beautiful bench. And he made an ugly bench. Then he agrees that what? If if the profit is more than the expense, Noisel Me'etzeh pays the expense. If you Me'etzeh Seir L'Shvach, Noisel Me'ashvach, and if the expense is more than the Shvach, so you pay the Shvach. And this is exactly like the Mishnah. This is not considered to be Shinui. So when you don't Shinui, Rameir agrees to Rabbi Yehuda that you do this idea, you pay either the expense or you pay the profit. But if there is a Shinui, there is a Machlekes. Rameir says Shinui Koini, you go based on the original value. And Rabbi Yehuda is Koinis not to go by Masa Shinui, and you go back to pay you do the same idea of Shvach or Yitzir. Okay, so this is the list. We conclude the Daf Kuf, the end of the Daf of Shabbos.